third, nobody out, and this is over the head. Actually, must have hit the bat of Kareem Garcia, and a foul ball, and Garcia immediately pops up and screams at Martinez.
Yeah, that was perilously close to his head. Martinez hitting Soriano and Derek Jeter. The last time the Yankees and Red Sox played in a 2-1 game won by the Yankees back in August. Now Joe Torre.
Oh, caught me in the middle of going to grab my beer and sniff it. I look up and there's my face. Welcome to another riveting edition of The Ghost and the Goat. I am your host, Buddy Thayer, paranormal investigator, welcoming you to walk with me on this most epic journey. Whether you're a skeptic, whether you're curious, whether you're ghost curious, whether you're, if that's the thing, whether you're what have you, come with me, walk with me. We're going to talk tonight about ghosts. We're going to talk about my beloved Red Sox. So I'm going to probably open up talking about my beloved Boston team. And the emotions of this past week. Hold on. I think about emotions. I think about drinking good beer. So hold on, let me take a sip. This isn't Bravo Brewing, while a great brewery, as the glass I'm drinking out of. This is actually Tox, T-O-X. They're located in the lovely city of New London, New London, Connecticut. All right. I went down there. Man, honey, it's a robust porter. I had the absolute privilege of visiting the lovely city of New London and the Tox Brewery on Friday. As I drove down that area in an effort to search for some family history, some ghosts of my Irish past, I was able to locate the graves of two of my great-great-great-grandfathers. The first one being Patrick Carney. He was born in 1830. He emigrated from Ireland, from the lovely county of Cork, over here in America around 1850-ish. I think 1852 maybe. Got married. Bopped out a bunch of children like every other proud Irishman did. They were good at drinking beers and having kids. And then 1861 happens, the breakout of the American Civil War. So he returns to his home port of New York City, where he came in from Ireland, and he signs up with the 30th Volunteers Infantry from New York. He sees combat at the Second Battle of Bull Run, which we didn't run away screaming, but we still the Union still took a pretty massive defeat. He fought at the Battle of South Mountain up there in Maryland, and during the Maryland campaign, and then of course September 17th, 1862, the bloodiest day in American history. Some 23,000 men lost their lives in one day. He was on that battlefield. He was given his corps was given support to the I think it was a corps out of Pennsylvania that was in the cornfield. So he was in the cornfield, one of the most bloodiest, the bloody cornfield, if you will. I believe he was injured, disabled in that battle. It says in his furlough, like 4 months later, that he was disabled. I'm assuming maybe a leg loss or an arm loss. There was a whole lot of shrapnel. There was a whole lot of like close contacts, fighting, bloody, hence the name. And he was furloughed on December 9th that year, and then he died the following March at like 39 years old. He left 4 kids and a wife. One of his kids went on to like own like multiple houses in that's a whole different story. But he was they were a wealthy Irish immigrant family that rose from the ashes, and yeah, the family history kind of. But anyway, then after that, the other great grandfather that I found, Michael Dooley, emigrated from Ireland about the same time. I think it was 1832. He came over. Same thing, married, had a ton of kids. Was one of the first to enlist. One of the first to hear Lincoln's call. My great grandfather. He enlisted with the 1st New York. He did return home for the war. He did live a number of years. He moved to Westerly, and he was an old stone cutter. I read his obituary last week. It's amazing some of the details you can find on Ancestry.com. I started using that as a paranormal investigator a number of years ago when I wanted to trace the history of a house or maybe the history of a person. Just questions, answers, all that shit. And I found it a whole lot more interesting when I started using it on my own as my own playground to discover family history. It's a tremendous resource. It's a little expensive, $25 a month for the basic plan, which gives you basically all American records and stuff, census, draft cards, all that fun stuff. And for the European package, I haven't paid for that yet. That's like an additional, like, I don't know, like $10-15. I don't know, maybe like 30-40. I don't know. It's like $49. I don't know, whatever it is. It's a little bit more expensive than it gives you the European history. So that's my next one. Before I can afford to go to Ireland, I will do that and go find my roots in the old country. So enough about me and my journey. When I went to Talks, it was beautiful. I had a beer with each one of my great grandfathers. Of course, it was an Irish stout from Talks. What else, right? Hold on. It's got like a hint of sweetness in the back of it, but it's very dark, as you can see. I am sitting in the dark, but it is a dark porter. It has a lot of flavor to it, so it's very good. Tonight's guest, we have scheduled a paranormal investigator that had to step in for another paranormal investigator. Our original guest, Matt Sorge, he is traveling. He's like, buddy, I'm on the road. I'm driving from Gettysburg, dude. We're leaving a little bit late, but I'm gonna do this from the road. I'm like, dude, that'd be awesome. That'd be my first mobile guest. It was kind of like, a precedent set on the Ghost and the Goat. Over about 20 minutes ago, he hooked me up by messenger and he's like, hey, buddy, I'm in Western Virginia in the mountains. Dude, I know the area. I've driven through Virginia many times. It's like forever to get through, and especially when you're from Rhode Island. And he's like, I just did a FaceTime and it was absolutely horrible. So would you mind, because I don't want it to look like shit. But dude, I get it. Thanks for like sticking with me though and trying to do it rather than like, blah blah blah. I'll be there, and then cancel last minute and not. So he's gonna reschedule. He's gonna come back on in September. Matt Sorge is joining us probably from Eastern Tennessee. They're releasing a documentary. I watched the trailer today. It looks awesome as an investigator. So I was able to secure. He's like, you got a plan B? I'm like, I don't know if I got, but I got a plan B. So I got another paranormal investigator coming on, and he's going to play some stuff, and we're going to talk about our stuff. And it's some pretty good stuff. So we get that in a little bit. So stay tuned for the ghost stuff. But for right now, sports. My beloved Red Sox. We are like 10 games removed from the All-Star break. Going into the All-Star break, we were super hot. 10 games in a row, no losses, and like 12 out of 14 victories. They were on fire. Finally, these guys have come to life. Finally, they got rid of Rafi Devers, all that drama, all that bullshit that came with him. And they started hitting balls, and the pitchers are throwing full games. And like, oh my God, this is like all these like guys that we picked up in the offseason, they're all producing. All of our prospects, like Roman Anthony, he's coming. He's really coming alive now. He's coming alive. Meyer, he's has some injury issues. He's good when he's on the field, but he gets injured a lot. And we had another guy. Bregman is friggin' awesome. They picked him up in the offseason. Ernest Chapman, awesome, great. Everybody's looking great. All-Star break. They come home. They stop playing again. Nah, it didn't start out too good. Then it came to like right after the All-Star break, we were playing some of the best teams in the NL. So we had the Phillies. I talked about it last week with the catcher interference like bullshit call in 2 of the games, and then they managed to win the 3rd game. However, I'm going in and out because I'm in the darkness, so I apologize. I'm ghosting in and out of the screen. They were able to win the last game against the Phillies, who are in 2nd place right now. Then they were facing the LA Dodgers, World Series champions. Best baseball player, generational baseball player there is, Shohei Ohtani. My dearest Mookie Betts, who was traded away and sold to the Dodgers a few years ago. I've cried about him many times in the past. And the various other amazing Dodger hitters and pitchers they have out there. They were not able to. I have a comment. That's cool. They weren't able to. Oh, hi, Courtney. Thank you for tuning in. They weren't able to cash in. The Red Sox beat them 2 out of 3 games, and they came alive again. Then we played Minnesota last night. We were down 2-1. We ended up coming ahead. It was 3-2. Top of the 9th. Here we go. We're gonna bottom of the 9th. We're gonna win this game. Bam! Rain delay. Hour and a half rain delay. Hail, all that shit. Then it all cleared up, and they're like, "Hey, all right, let's play some baseball again." And they brought in the kid they got. I forgot his name. He's not even really worth remembering, but he's the kid one of the guys we got in a trade with for Rafi Devers. Like, we took the garbage from San Francisco to get rid of the huge contract for Rafi Devers, and he gave up 2 walks, and then he gave up a double, which led to 2 runs being scored, and of course led to the Minnesota Twins baseball game. So the Red Sox still are on tonight, and I think they're on right now. I don't have the score in front of me. I apologize. They are currently in the wild card standing. They're still a game ahead of everybody. In the American League East, the Blue Jays lead the East with 63-45. The scumbag Yankees are 5 games behind. We are just a game behind the evil empire, the New York Yankees. It'll be the first time all year that we're this close to the New York Yankees. We should take advantage of this opportunity with Aaron Judge out for probably one of the better hitters in baseball, playing for the Yankees, out for the next 10 days with I think he's got like a vag tear or a oblique tear or something like that. And so he's on the show. We should take advantage of this and run with it. Hopefully they can unsuit the Yankees. I don't know if they'll unsuit the Blue Jays because they're pretty well on fire, but we can get a solid lead on the number 1 wild card position if we are able to knock the Yankees. But it's only July. It's not even July 31st yet. I mean, Thursday is the end of July, but we still got another 2 solid months of baseball. And if anybody knows the Red Sox, like I know the Red Sox, you know, like I do, that September means we crash. So here's to the Red Sox not crashing, and here's to another 30 of these when they do. The Rays are the Devil Rays are 8.5 back, and the Orioles are all but out of contention at 13.5. They traded. They did a big trade. Sent one of their studs over to the Blue Jays. Frickers. But then they went in ahead and beat the Blue Jays 16-4. So that was awful nice. The American League Central is dominated by the Detroit Tigers, who have been on a little bit of a slump since the All-Star break. They've been losing a few games, but not enough to allow the Cleveland Guardians to catch up, who are 9 games back on the Tigers. The Guardians are questionable whether they'll trade their one of the top players, Quan, deal him away to the highest bidder. The trade deadline is on July the 31st. The worst team in the American League, the Chicago White Sox, are a whopping 39 wins and 68 losses. They're 22 and a half games out of first. They're not doing anything this year, next year, last year, 10 years from now. Screw the White Sox. It's all about the Red Sox. The American League West. There's a pretty decent race in the West. The Astros currently lead the race with 60 wins, but the Mariners and the Texas Rangers are just 3 and 4 games behind. So there's still a chance the Mariners have a really good baseball team. They're all right. I don't think maybe the Mariners can unseat the Astros. They're in first place for the first half of the season. In the National League, let me flip. The National League, the Mets dominate the East. No, they don't dominate the East. The Mets and the Phillies are in a pretty steady race for the East. The Mets have 62 wins. The Phillies have 60 wins, game and a half back. They're going to battle out for the whole rest of the season. You won't know until like the end of probably September who's going to win that division. It will be a tight race. Who knows? I personally, I'd rather see the Phillies do it because the Mets are a New York team, and I owe them one from the mid-1980s. And Juan Soto, he's a jerk face, and way overpaid. So there's nobody else. The Marlins are next in that, and they're 11 games back, and everybody else in Nashville. And the Atlanta Braves just suck this year. A team that doesn't suck this year, for the first time in a little while, the Milwaukee Brewers and the Chicago Cubbies are battling it out for first place in the National League Central. The Brewers have the most wins, the best record in baseball currently, but not by a lot. They're only 1 game ahead of the second best team in baseball, the Chicago Cubs, who are just a game behind them in the Central. The Reds are trying to stay afloat at 7.5 games back, but they've been middle of the road all season. I don't know if they got enough to jumpstart their offense and save their day. Yeah, who cares? It's the Reds. The Pirates and the Cardinals are easily well out of the race. The National League West, the LA Dodgers, despite losing 2 games to my beloved Red Sox, they are still ahead in the West with 62 wins. They have a decent lead over the Padres, 4-game lead, and Rafi Devers and the Giants are 8 games behind. So swimming right around the 500 mark. So good job, Rafi. Doing a great job at first base, you big jerk. One bit of news that came through earlier this week with the trade deadline approaching. Jarren Duran was on a podcast the other day. There's been a lot of talk that he's the extra center fielder. Granted, I think he's better than the Japanese ball player. Starts with an A. I don't know his name. He's that good. I don't know his name. Or I can't remember because he's injured a lot. So we got Jarren Duran, we got the Asian fellow, we got Ceddanne Rafael, who's in my opinion, one of the best outfielders in the game right now, and defensively and offensively. And we got Roman Anthony. So they got to get rid of the Asian kid, and because he's always injured, and he's okay. He could get some value, but keep Jarren. Jarren Duran was tearful. He wants to play his whole career in Boston. He's a career player here. He has tremendously great relationships with his teammates. He's a good veteran to have on. He has overcome mental health issues and rose up. So maybe let's keep Jaren. And the Red Sox came out the following day saying they had no intentions of trading Jaren Duran. He was off the block. Now there's talk of us trading Chapman, or this guy's got like super muscles, and he's like 40 years old. He's a bodybuilder, and he can throw a mean fastball, and he's a closer for us. But they're thinking of trading him away. But they do need a starting pitcher, but time will tell. It's only, like I said, it's only July. It's not even the trade deadline isn't even here. It's this week, but anything could still happen. It's baseball. It's a marathon, not a little race. So that's it for baseball. Hopefully the Red Sox pull more wins out of that pursuit. Speaking of mental health and sports, yesterday there was a we're going to cover the NFL. The NFL, I'm going to flip the NFL really quick, and then we'll get into ghosts and paranormal and all that good shit. The NFL, they're going through the training camps right now. There's people getting hurt, and it's not really exciting. But not that this is exciting, but this is kind of noteworthy, and I thought I would present this piece as my piece this evening for the NFL. So there was a Manhattan shooting yesterday. The gunman mentioned that he had CTE, and that was the trigger for him to target the NFL. So the man who opened fire on a Midtown Manhattan office building, killing 4 people and wounding a 5th, appeared to be targeting NFL headquarters and had a note claiming he suffered from CTE, as I just said, police sources told ABC News. Shane Tamura, he drove across the country with a semi-automatic rifle and then carried out a mass shooting on Monday in the building that's home to the NFL offices, officials said. He died courageously by killing himself in the building later on in the day. So here's the latest from the investigation. When Tamura entered 345 Park Avenue, police say that he immediately opened fire on an NYPD officer and then shot a woman who took cover. The NYPD officer, by the way, he was a father of 2, and he was expecting a newborn child. He came from Bangladesh. He did what he had to do to become a citizen here. He's a proud American. He joined one of the best police forces in America, the NYPD, and he was shot by this guy. Anyway, so he was shot, and then a woman was shot who took cover. He sprayed the lobby with gunfire, and shot a security guard at the elevator bank. The gunman left bullet holes and the NFL crest on the wall by one of the elevator banks. Eerie surveillance video captured him allowing a woman to walk out of the elevator, sparing her from being shot. New York Police Mayor Eric Adams said. There's a picture of him just kind of just cruising into the off the New York City streets into the building area, into the lobby area, with an automatic weapon, just walking casually right into the building, it ain't no thing. He then proceeded to take an elevator to the 33rd floor. He thought were the offices of the NFL, but were in fact the offices of Rudin Management, where he shot another victim. I think she was a woman that was 27 years old. And then again, like I said, he courageously took his own life. He did leave. So 4 people were killed in the attack. A security guard for the building, an executive at Blackstone, who was a wife and a mom, a police officer who was a dad of 2 and expecting a third in a couple months, and a young employee at Rudin Management. All 4 victims died of gunshot wounds to the torso, with one additionally shot in the left upper extremity, according to autopsy reports. Tamura died by suicide from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to his torso, his autopsy found. A 5th shooting victim, an NFL employee, according to Commissioner Roger Goodell, was injured and taken into the hospital in critical condition, officials said. That victim was listed in stable condition this morning, according to a source familiar with the individual's status. The shooter's note, so he left a note. While he took his own life after he murdered 5 innocent people, he was nice enough to leave a note to maybe explain his actions. One page of the note found in Tamura's pocket accused the NFL of concealing the dangers to players' brains from playing football in order to maximize profits, sources said. A second page mentioned CTE and blamed football. A third page asked, "Study my brain, please. I'm sorry," sources says. I'm looking at it here, the photographs of the note. And it does mention CTE. It says chronic traumatic encephalopathy. It says under that, study my brain, please. I'm sorry. Tell, and it has it blacked out. I'm sorry for everything. Computer password has it blacked out. And he writes CTE's research, and he underlines it 6 times. It goes on to describe CTE as a brain disease. This is an article by ABC News, BT Dubs. CTE is a brain disease linked to repeated hits in the head, often seen in military victims, athletes, including football players, hockey players, and boxers. Tamura, 27, played high school football in Los Angeles, but did not play professionally. He has no known connection to the NFL. It remains unknown if Tamura suffered from CTE, which can't be diagnosed in a living person with certainty, but doctors may suspect it based on symptoms and a history of head trauma. Tamura's brain will be examined as part of his autopsy at the New York City office of the chief medical examiner. It shows a lovely picture of him. He looks a little, honestly, looks a little high. But what we know about the gunman. So Tamura lived in Las Vegas, where he was a surveillance department employee at the Horseshoe Hotel and Casino. A Horseshoe spokesman confirmed. Police traced Tamura's BMW movements through multiple states after it left Nevada on Saturday and entered New York on Monday, about 2 hours before the shooting, sources say. Tamura had 2 mental health crisis holds in his background in Nevada, one in 2022 and one in 2024, law enforcement sources say. The typical hold holds a person for detained up to 72 hours if they are thought to be a danger themselves or others, according to one source. When there is this type of hold in Nevada, officers have to transport this person to the hospital. Once this happens, medical staff take over and decide how long to hold the person. As a mental health professional, I'm not professional. I've been in the field for 24 years. I'm currently in grad school to become a mental health counselor. I have seen many clients on all ends of this, whether I'm working in a group home, or I'm working in the inpatient unit, or I'm working in the forensic unit. People get placed on civil commitments because they have various issues in the community, or they maybe commit a crime, and while they are found not competent to stand trial, they're still committed. Or there's like then the other form of commitment, which is like somebody does something, like I said, in the community, a cop, an officer, or like a mental health clinician can put them on a cert. It's 72 hours apparently in Nevada. In Rhode Island, it's 24. They have 24 hours to prove whether or not they believe that that person is a danger to themselves or society. And if they don't have enough like weight to present in a mental health court that's usually on the premises, then that person has to be discharged and he's allowed to go free. So that's the law in all states where that's a thing. They can only hold you for a certain amount of time. And if you're not presenting as if you're not presenting as dangerous, if you're not like aggressive or presenting as like you're going to kill people, then they have no choice to let you go. And some people, unfortunately, can turn it on and off like a switch. In Monday's shooting, Tamura used a M4 style semi-automatic Palmetto State Armory PA-15 rifle equipped with a scope and a barrel flashlight, law enforcement sources told ABC News. The M4 style weapon is similar to the AR-15 assault rifle. We're going to hear all sorts of gun control measures that need to be taken. All these people are going to come out and like ban machine guns, and when in fact, in Tamura's car at the time of the attack, there was a loaded Colt Python 357 caliber revolver, ammunition, medication that he probably should have been taking, and 2 cell phones. The shooter legally purchased the revolver using his Nevada concealed carry permit, which he has had since 2022. Here in Rhode Island, you need a go-ahead signature from the Attorney General's office to obtain one of these. I'm sure it's a pretty, even though in Las Vegas, I mean, Nevada is, a pretty like, conservative state. I'm sure there's some, I'm not a gun guy, but I'm sure there's some kind of process that you have to go to get a concealed firearms permit. And it's my hope that mental health, um, like red flags, are put into place so that, red flag law. It's right here. It's in the next paragraph I'm about to read to you. New York has some of the strongest gun laws in the nation. We banned assault weapons. We strengthened our red flag law. We closed dangerous loopholes. She, who is the New York Governor, Kathy Hochul, said on Tuesday. When weapons from other states are brought to New York, the American people are tired of thoughts and prayers, the governor said. Congress must summon the courage to stand up to the gun lobby and finally pass the national assault weapons ban. What they really need to do, ladies and gentlemen, is really put a little bit more research and funding into mental health awareness. Study a little bit more on maybe not only CTEs, but traumatic brain injury. Another population of people I've worked with in the forensic setting. There's not a lot they can do to medicate, because while a lot of these symptoms will appear as mental health symptoms, they're untreatable because of brain damage, and it's tremendously debilitating for the person. And the person becomes a detriment to the community that he lives in. So, I mean, if somebody, I've known people that have killed people, and they didn't use guns. It's not like friends of mine or anything. These are people that I've worked with in mental health forensic settings. I know a man who killed his entire family, and sister, mother's boyfriend, just brutally beat them with a hammer and a knife that he found in the kitchen. I know another guy who he cut his father off cut his father's head off with a saw that he found in the garage. And he did it because he believed that an ancient, was a Hindu sect, the Primrara was like this holy figure. This minute religion was like speaking to him telepathically, telling him to go to Bridgewater State Hospital and bring peace and Primrara to the hospital. And the only way he knew to get there was to commit like some kind of atrocious crime like that. The man had like hundreds of journals documenting his insanity. But like, if somebody wants to kill somebody, boys and girls, they don't need a gun to do so. They can use their hands. They can use various objects found around the house, around the kitchen, in the garage, what have you. Let's put more into mental health awareness. If you see something, say something. We're not in a rat society. We're in a safety society. We're in, like, hey, I saw Johnny, and he didn't really look too right, and he was saying some like stuff like he was gonna like blow up the school that he got like expelled out of. Like, maybe somebody should talk to Johnny before something happens. Stuff like this, or clinicians riding along with cops. I think that's a great thing. Addresses mental health right at its point. This is not a political or a mental health rant. This is a paranormal and sports talk show. It's kind of related to sports. This is a hot topic issue. People will blame it on guns forever. I've seen somebody try to kill somebody else with a rubber pencil once. So it doesn't matter what the medium is that you're using to try and kill somebody. Maybe it's like up here. Maybe we can address up here a little bit more instead of going crazy with all this gun control stuff. So there's some pretty like good Americans out there that own guns, and they're very responsible, and we shouldn't take the liberties of American being born American, the right to bear arms. It's just people like to feel safe. People like to feel in control in their own home. Safe from, oh God, I'm blurring left and right here, guys. Anyway, mental health awareness. That was my whole thing there. I don't want to get off on some political gun rant or any of that shit. Maybe this should be some more red flag laws, more higher standards on especially a guy like this who was like, he was certified twice in 2 years. They had a concealed weapons license. Maybe, I don't know. Looking into this shit a little bit more, I don't know. But mental health is where it's at. That guy that killed all those people in that movie theater that time with that gun, He had some mental health issues. Those kids in Columbine, they had some mental health issues. They could have done it with anything, boys and girls. It doesn't have to always be about the gun. Just that's just some thoughts, everybody. His beer is really good. If you have the opportunity to try Tox out, try it out. You can find them in most liquor stores in the Rhode Island and Connecticut, Massachusetts area. So, who are you talking about, bruh? Bruh, the guy that in New York City guy, yesterday guy, dude, friend, that shut up the offices in the NFL. That's what I was talking about, bruh. Mental health awareness. That's all I'm saying, bruh. So I'm gonna flip the switch, guys. We're gonna go paranormal. Tonight's guest was, like I said earlier, was supposed to be Matt Sorge. Matt is stuck in no contact zone, Western Virginia, Eastern. I don't know, was that Tennessee? I don't know if he's even in Tennessee yet. He's in Virginia. I understand. I've drove through Virginia a number of times. Like, oh, great, we're finally in Virginia. Yay, only one more state to go. And it's the longest friggin' state. I mean, I do love driving through the old, like, Fredericksburg and Richmond and Middleburg and all the famous battle sites and stuff. And it's like, oh, is that? I could stop. I could spend a month in Virginia. I could. But it feels like it takes a month to drive through. So we understand, Matt. We're going to rebook Matt for September, which is good because I kind of have to fill my calendar up in September. So that gives me another slot that I can fill in September. Tonight's fill-in guest, like I said earlier, is a longtime paranormal investigator. What else can I say? He's a founder of Ocean State Paranormal, a group here in Rhode Island. I think he founded the group in 2012, but he's been investigating the paranormal for some time before that. It was based on some paranormal experiences he had, and he's like, I got to know more. I got to do more about this. I got to do more with this stuff, dude. And he dove headfirst into it. He joined the group. He did that for a while. Group disbanded. He was sitting at home. He's like, dude, I got to do so. I need to know more. I got to do this. And his wife's like, hey, buddy, why don't you found Ocean State Paranormal? And that's tonight's guest, believe it or not. Plan B is me. I always say, hey, I'm a paranormal investigator. Hey, I investigate the paranormal. But I never come on here and show you guys any of my goods. So tonight I have Volume 1 of Ocean State Paranormal's Greatest Hits. This is some of my oldest stuff. Some of the videos, presentations, it's all EVP. There's not much video, but it will show, like, it will set up the scene. I'll set up the scene by talking about it a little bit. And they're some of the better EVPs I've captured in the first, like, 5-6 years of investigating with Ocean State Paranormal. We have a tech guy who is now, like, my video guy for my beer show, Joseph. He's an awesome, he builds stuff and he does all that stuff. We have my dear aunt, Dale, before she moved down to South Carolina, she was, like, the mental health piece. Even though I work in mental health, she's actually a licensed therapist. That was really good to assess whether or not people were really experiencing something or really experiencing something. And then we had a few other folks coming in and out, investigate with us over the years. So it was really, it's a good little group. I still investigate here and there, but as I said earlier in the show, I'm working on a clinical mental health counseling degree for grad school. It's a little bit demanding. I'm a full-time employee, full-time case manager, overtime case manager. So the ghosts will always be there. I always have experiences. I have experiences when I'm not looking for them. I don't ever claim to be a medium. However, things will happen and do happen, and not always when I'm looking for them. So without further ado, I got to share screen. Hold on, let me share screen. So I'm going to bring you to Volume 1 of Ocean State Paranormal's Greatest Hits. Can be found on Facebook, on the Facebook page. But fair warning, it won't be like this when you look at it, but it might be, yeah, you're going to see it maybe a little bit on the page. There's some words that don't look like they're English, and then not. Weird story. So, like, 6 months ago, I don't know how it happened. The language got changed to Estonian, and I can't read Estonian. It's not like that on my cell phone. It's only like that on my computer. I don't understand why I've changed my login information. Maybe I got hacked. It's not like that on my phone though, and it's still like that on my computer. Anybody who has any answers to this, feel free to throw it in the chat room. Send me an IM, buddy. This is how you're gonna fix this. So you might see some words that you don't necessarily understand on my screen here, and that's because it's in Estonian. Unless you speak Estonian and you can tell me how to navigate this off air, that'd be tremendous. But if not, I don't know. Maybe I'll figure it out one day. Anyway, I was able to get on. So this is how you go on. You go on to make the screen big, and then I'll just chat as we go. Here we go. So this is the Ocean State Paranormal Facebook page. This is our logo. This is the license plate of Rhode Island. I founded the group in October 2012, so that's what that sticker represents there. You can see that those colored stickers on every Rhode Island license plate. So Rhode Island's changed that plate recently. I don't have a new logo on. I do have it, but I don't have it on the screen. So you go to the main page, which I have not updated in a pig's eye. I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, been busy. I have 2 audio files I still got to go through from an investigation earlier this year that I have not even gotten to yet. So it's just been crazy. But you go to the videos page and you can look at. I have individual videos. I have videos from presentations. I've done a bevy of library presentations. That's what a lot of these were done for. So you'll notice that when it says when the EVP is about to play, you'll see EVP reveals. That was just a cue for the audience to listen a little bit more clearly. And then, of course, the piece where the EVP comes through, of course, I amplified it a little bit because you're playing in a room of 100 people. I'm trying to get these people to hear it. And this is in my early days before I started, learning a little bit more about editing and video editing and all that fun shit. So some of them will have these awful intros that's what is it called? Like that, like the ocean sounds and the foghorn. And I did it at first I'm like, oh, this sounds great. And then once you stop playing 6 or 7 of them in a row, it's like, oh shit, this doesn't sound so great anymore. But anyway, you might experience a little bit of that. So without further ado, I'm going to start at the beginning with case 2, which is probably one of my better EVPs of all time. Case 2 was one of my first residential cases. It is in the city of Woonsocket, Rhode Island, which is in the northern half of Rhode Island. A good dear friend of mine, Jeffrey Hearn. Big cheers, dude. Big cheers, Jeffrey Hearn, if you're listening. He's at the currently at the going for his 3rd master's degree. The Army sent him down there. He's the first Rhode Islander ever to be selected to go to this prestigious school. And when you're I'm not going to mention his rank in the Rhode Island National Guard, the Army. But he's a higher ranking, guy, and you're like, oh, he's some staunch asshole. Why he's kind of he's not an asshole. I busted his balls. He's a great guy, but he's not. He's very humble. You would never know you're talking to an officer. You never know you're talking to a guy who's at the school he's at. So he's going here and with the hopes of becoming General Ahern someday. Big cheers to you, Jeff, and all that you're doing, dude. I'm proud of you, my friend. The Patriots still suck, but I'm proud of you, dude. So Jeff was able to help me with this investigation because it involved a man who was he discharged as a captain in the Rhode Island. He was in the Rhode Island Cavalry, and then he did some secretarial work. Hold on, let me take a sip of this. Oh, it's so good. It's such a good porter. So his name was you'll see in the opening of the video here, Albert Smith. Albert joined as a private. He joined the Rhode Island 1st Cavalry, which was a prestigious unit here in Rhode Island, and he was an expert horseman. And he left the farm in Woonsocket, which isn't really farm country nowadays, but it was farm then. And he went to war, and he rode in some pretty major battles in the Peninsula Campaign and the Army of the Potomac. And then in June of 1863, with the Confederates just won a major battle at the Battle of Chancellorsville in Southern Virginia, right around where Matt Sorge is cruising through right now. And Lee decides that he's going to try to invade the North again, and they wanted to get up to Pennsylvania and really disrupt things up north and get between, the Union Army and D.C. and really force the card here. So the 1st Rhode Island Cavalry is charged with the duty of finding Lee and his army, who are marching north. They're using the Shenandoah Mountains, which, if you're familiar with Virginia, the Appalachian, they run down right through the middle of the state. And it allowed Lee to come up. I don't know if you can see my hands because I'm looking at the book face page, but it allowed Lee to come up and use the mountains as cover. So the 1st Rhode Island Cavalry rode into Middleburg, which is about, I'd say, like 30 minutes west of driving of Washington, D.C. And they almost captured the Confederate general in charge of the Confederate cavalry, Jeb Stuart. They chased out of town him and several officers. Jeb Stuart, they were ordered to hold the town in the night. So Jeb Stuart went and he got a whole shitload of regiments from Mississippi and Virginia and Tennessee, and he came back and he took on this force of like 300 guys in the Rhode Island 1st Cavalry with probably like 3,000 Confederates, and they completely surrounded the town. And it was like every man for yourself and run for your lives. So Albert Smith was one of 40 men who survived this brutal, bloody massacre. Some of them ran into the woods, some of them hid, some of them were captured, a few died in prison, but most of them were released in a trade. After the Battle of Middleburg, and he returned to D.C. Because the regiment was completely almost annihilated. There was like I said, there was 40 guys who survived, but out of those 40 guys, maybe 30 of them ended up back in D.C. And he becomes a clerk till the end of the war. I found his memoirs in doing the research in the City One Socket. I promise not every case will be this long-winded. And he wrote memoirs about when it was his time in D.C. and he was there when Lincoln was assassinated. And he remembers seeing his body lying in state and seeing the funeral procession. And it's just like a piece of history. It's just like reading somebody's like thoughts who were at, I don't know, it's just like that firsthand account. It was just really cool. So we went in to investigate the house. It was like a small house on the 2nd floor. It had a couple bedrooms on the 2nd floor, living room on the 1st floor. I got some great pictures as well, but I don't have time to bring all those up to show you. Of course, they're apparition pictures, but another time. And we got this one. I mean, I got a bunch of great EVPs from that, but this is the one like holy shit EVP for me. For the first time I heard it to now, and it's still like oh my god. So it's myself and this woman Alexis Doyle. She was a medium that I met through a local demonologist. She came with me because I had no idea what to expect, and she was seeing. I actually went with a few mediums, but she was the one that stuck around for the whole investigation. So we're up in this bedroom, and she talked about like riding horses for a while, and we got some good EVPs from that. But there's one in particular. It will have us talking about things that an officer would carry into battle as a cavalryman during the American Civil War. Now, my history wasn't as sharp as it is nowadays. So I stumbled on a few of my words. I called them a platoon. I'm like, oh no, it's not a platoon. It's a, and then a man. So first, a woman's voice will come through that's different from Alexis. There was no other woman in the house, just her and I, and it's more of a whisper. It's a woman's voice. And then the second voice is a very pronounced older man's voice, very clear. It does come up on screen what I think they're saying. Because, like I said, I did this for library presentations, but I'm gonna play the EVP for you guys. See what you think. Let me unmute it. Oh yeah, with your I figured you had a musket, flintlock,
cavalry sword.
He was a captain, so he led a small brigade of, or not brigade, oh Jesus, it'd be called a platoon. Yeah. Now, he was a captain.
Cavalry sword.
He was a captain, so he led a small brigade of, or not brigade, oh Jesus, it'd be called a platoon. So that I don't know if you heard it, but the woman says bayonets, And then which they had bayonets at the time, and then of course the old man comes through and says, "I did that." The home was he built the home. He had owned the farm. Before that, he took over the family farm when he was 12 when his father died. He tripled the profits in under a year. He was a master business mind at a very young age, and he went into the Civil War. He came home from the Civil War. He raised 5 children. He lived in that house until 1920. He passed in 1920. He had a huge article because he actually, when he came home, he was a councilman. He was on the school committee. He did a bunch of good things when he came home. He was a good guy. But that's Lieutenant or Captain, rather, Albert Smith. I believe, talking to us, telling us he did that. So my next presentation is from, actually, I'm going to skip to case 10, and then we're going to come back to case number 3. Case 10, I'm going to give you one EVP. So it's myself, it's the lovely Catherine Donahue who investigates with me from every now and again. She lives up in Syracuse these days. And the owner of the house, who was a friend of mine, he had told me about a bevy of paranormal experiences that he had there, that he had on the second floor, and that his tenant had on the first floor, and things that they experienced in the basement, like furniture being dragged across the kitchen floor. It's kind of creepy. And then he mentioned this like rocking chair. So a lot of on the second floor, a lot of the paranormal activity always centered around the middle bedroom. There was like the first bedroom on the right was like the toddler age child. The middle bedroom was the toddler age child when she was an infant, and the infant now's room or then's room. Now they're both like grown. And then it was the parents' room, and then it was the kitchen, and then you go down the hall, and it was the living room, and then you go down the back stairs, and you go out in the backyard, all that shit. I did a complete history on the building. It was built in the early 1920s by Italian immigrants, and the entire Italian family lived in the house generation after generation. All the city documents, all the city directories, all these names I had, that all these people that lived there, they were just family members that lived there one after another in both apartments. So we were doing, before I get into the investigation, like a week before that, I was there doing an interview with Rich. He's the homeowner. We were out on they had like a screened in porch on the front of the house. I was sitting there talking, and I hear this noise. It's like, I'm like, dude, what's the noise? He's like, oh, you hear that? I'm like, yeah, what is that, dude? I'm like, that's like a bet. Is somebody doing? No, what is that? He's like, come with me. He's like, remember I told you about that rocking chair? Oh my god, the rocking chair that you find moving on its own. He's like, yeah, come on, this is that rocking chair. I bet you. We open the door to the infant's room, and that rocking chair. You can't see me now. Hold on. I'll only put my face back in so you can see the motion my hand is going in. Oh god, what are you doing? So the rocking chair is like just starting to. But it was in there by itself. There's nobody in there. There's nobody else in that house, and the rocking chair was in like full swing, and I could hear it, and then I saw it move. So that night we're in that room. Catherine, Rich, myself. We have my recorder playing in front of us. Catherine has an Ovilius, which I didn't know a whole lot about, and I wasn't sure. So I'm like, let's experiment with it. So we have it running, and it spouts out words from time to time. And Rich is talking about how one of the claims in this room specifically, not only was the chair moving, people would come in and like lean over the crib, and they would see out of the corner of the eye like an older woman like leaning with them, or they would see an older woman standing in the corner. And there was always that positive, like loving feeling that you feel around like older loved ones. It was like a grandma effect, So we're sitting in this room, and Rich starts talking about he starts talking about his nana. And how? Oh no! What happens is the Ovilia says the name Mary, and I'm like, I'm pulling out my notes, through my notes. I'm like, there's not a single Mary, Maria, Marie, anything related. Maybe it's a friend, or maybe it's somebody related to the family. I'm like, is it someone related to the family? And I look at my friend Rich. He's like, it's like my nana. Her name was Mary. I'm like, did she like recently passed? He's like, oh God, no. She's been dead for years, dude. I'm like, well, since before you were married? Oh yeah, long before I was married. He's like 10, 12 years now. Oh wow. He had at the time he had only lived in that house for a couple of years. So all right, so we start talking about Mary, about his Nana. And oh no, oh shit, I removed it. Oh my bad. Did I put it back? Did I go back? Oh I did. Okay. So we started talking about his Nana. So I'm gonna play this EVP. Based on that moment. Before you were married?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. Before I even knew Jess.
Oh,
But the baby's good.
You hear that?
oh God, yeah.
Let's do it again.
Yeah.
EVP
Before
reveals.
I even knew Jess. Oh,
But the baby's good.
Clearly. Oh, whoa, no, don't do that, buddy. Clearly, not myself, not Catherine, not Richard. Let the baby sleep. Clear, like pronunciation, clear phonetics. Such a great EVP. I love that one. If you didn't hear it, check it out. Because I gotta keep things moving here. We're at 9:00. I was hoping to just keep this show an hour, but it looks like I might go for longer. So here we go. The next case, of course, is case number 3. Case 3 was a bed and breakfast on the lovely island of the Block Island, Rhode Island. My wife did a number of years out there as a teenager. She worked. Excuse me, as I crack another beer. This is I can't see what it's a double IPA. It's Ed gave it to me, so I'm not even sure what it's gonna taste like. It's from. I can't even see because I don't have any light. Oh my god, I should have turned on the light. Anyway, it's Thunder Punk, double Thunder Punk from Bent Brewing. So we're gonna try that out. But anyway, as I pour my beer, I'll talk about case 3. So case 3 was known as the Hygeia Hotel Annex, and then it became the Hygeia House. It was a 13 suite bed and breakfast. It was owned by most of the same family for better half of its existence for a number of years, from the early 1900s through probably the 1970s until it was abandoned for some time. It housed family members and it housed local tourists. And each family member that had a room there, then their room would later on go on to have their name on the room. So I had some friends. My wife experienced a lot of things there, and people that I know that live out there experience a ton of things out there. And then what sparked my interest most, because there are so many haunted places on Block Island, I had a really good friend of mine who's a complete skeptic. He's atheist. He does not believe. He's like, it'd be nice to, dude, but until I can see something like that really convinces me, I think it's all fake. So he had this one experience. He comes home from Block Island with a girlfriend. He's like, dude, you're gonna go to Hygeia and do that ghost shit you do at Hygeia. I'm like, why? What do you mean, Jay? He's like, I stayed in Mama's room. It was on the 2nd floor. It was all the way to the end of the hallway. And he's like, I kept sitting there and kind of seeing an old lady in the room, dude. I'm like, oh yeah, was there an old lady there, dude? He's like, no, there was nobody else in the bed and breakfast. It was just us. You don't say, Jay. Go on. He's like, I woke up a few times in the middle of the night and I could hear like footsteps in the room. And I would like go up to use the bathroom and I was peeing and I could see a woman out of the corner of my eye, dude. Funny how that is, Jay, because that couldn't be a ghost, right? Because you don't believe in ghosts. So I don't know. He's like, you should go and try it and see what happens. So we went there on an investigation. Catherine, her husband Scott, and myself, 3 of us. It was March. It was pre-season. Season in Block Island runs about mid-May through mid-October, and then everything's closed down, and it's just like 600 people for the rest of the year, with 2 bars open on the entire island, which are very good bars, by the way. But anyway, I digress. So we're there by ourselves, and this is the first one. This is number 28. No, no, I'm not going to do 20. I'm going to do 21. So this is in the basement. Come to find out, after we played this EVP for the owner, she went on to tell us how her elderly mother had lived in that very room where we caught this, and she died after 2 years of lingering with cancer. Also, before we started the investigation that day in the daytime, before Catherine and Scott came over on the ferry, me and my wife went in the building. We did baseline sweeps of the entire place. Got EMF readings and saw how well insulated the wiring was and all the normal shit you do before you investigate a place. Look for everything. See what the place looks like during the daytime. The stairs. Look at electrical outlets and everything that could explain anything paranormal. We do the whole house. We're about to leave, and I'm like, oh wait, I didn't do the maid's quarters in the basement. She's like, all right, you go do them, and I'll leave. We had a good feeling. There was no weird feelings at all. I went downstairs. It's all renovated. I went to the left side. It was the maid's quarters. Nothing weird, nothing EVP, nothing EMF, nothing at all. I went into the right side of the bedroom, and then there was another room which was where the furnace was. So there's this double suite, and it had a sliding glass door that looked out towards what's called New Harbor on Block Island. There's Old Harbor, there's New Harbor. Right? That's another time. But so I was sitting on this ledge, and I found this old historical book of Block Island. I'm like, I started reading it, and out of nowhere, the overwhelming feeling is on me. I'm feeling like there's somebody right on top of me. And I glance up, I look around, I don't see anything. Obviously, I put the book down. I'm like, hey, thanks for that. I'm gonna leave now, and I'll talk to you guys later. And I ran as quickly as I could up the stairs and out of that building. When we went back, we captured a whole shit ton of EVPs, but these are some of the best ones. So I'm gonna present these to you. This is 21. This is in the furnace room in the basement next to that very room where the mother died. Ooh. One more time. So it was a little spaced out. She did say out. Get out. It was pretty clear. What the hell is this? And then the woman's like, oh, hey, by the way, my mom died in that room down there. And it might have been her. It might not have been, but she wanted us to get out. We didn't leave. The next one features we're in a bedroom on the second floor. We're at the end of a hallway, the opposite end of the hallway from Mama's room. And I have my recorder on the outside of the bedroom. There's a table under the window. I placed my recorder there. We went into the bedroom where there's a bed. Catherine placed the recorder on the bed. Scott and Catherine are sitting on one end. I'm sitting to the right of a door. You walk in the door. I'm sitting at that. The door's open. I got a window behind me. And I'm talking about I'm in this this is us just talking, and then the EVPs come through as we're talking. We're not even asking. It's not even you're asking questions or anything. We're just bullshitting. I'm talking about how I'm feeling a cold breeze, but it's not coming from the window that's behind me. It's coming from the hallway in front of me. I know the heat was on, so we were just talking about that. And there are two voices that come through. The first one, it's a woman saying a full sentence that's drawn out very slow, and it's a man very sharply saying one word. So here's the EVP. I'll play it twice for you. Oh, this is Rose Room. Yeah.
Well, I just with the last 30 seconds.
So that's what we think was the two, whether they're residual or intelligent, whether she's asking me if I want her to open up a window. I think he's telling her quiet. I don't know. The building dates back to the 19th century. the way women were treated was a little bit different in those days. I don't know. What I do know is that wasn't Catherine speaking. If she wanted me to open up a window, and that sure as shit wasn't me yelling at her to be quiet as I'm talking at the same time. So I don't know if those weren't ghosts. You tell me what they were. That was in the Bros room, coming from Mama's room. Mama's room right here. EVP number 32. So this is like 3 o'clock in the morning. We had been investigating all evening from about 9 o'clock. Very quiet on Block Island this time of year. And, all the snow is just melted, but it's just not spring yet. And I'd been up all day. I was like, you're starting to get a little tired and sarcastic. So I walk in the room, like, hey, where's the old lady? We walk into Mama's room. Like, let me talk to the old lady. And then the recorder, this is where the clip turns on. Well, no, it's not where the clip turns on. Scott, who was just a mule the entire night. He carried all of Catherine's photography equipment, all her extra cameras, all the equipment, everything. He didn't say anything. He wasn't investigating. He was just there to support his wife. And he says to me, Scott's a fellow historian. He says to me when we walk into this room, he's like, hey, buddy, you got to remember, you're talking to a woman who was like alive during the Victorian era. She was born in like the 1850s, right? And she knew her heyday in the peak of the Victorian era in the 1880s. You got to she used a little bit more cordial greetings. And this is where the recording comes in. You hear Scott say, hello, Mrs. Champlin. And then there's a response. And this is probably one of my top 3 of all time. So there we go.
Oh, Mrs. Champlin.
Hello.
Oh, Mrs. Champlin.
Hello.
Champlin.
Hello.
Yeah. So that wasn't. Yeah, that was that room with the old lady. That definitely sounded like an old lady. Not that I like to judge, but it sounded a little bit older. So we're on the 3rd floor. Next, same room, same building, Hygeia House. This is the last one from the case 3, EBP 38. We're in what's called Uncle L's room. It's a double suite, so there's 2 bedrooms and a bathroom in the suite. Catherine and Scott are in one bedroom. I am in another. We both have K2 meters. Our K2 meters are alternating, like going like wicking way up to the 5 lights. Like there's red, orange, yellow, green, all that. And it goes way up to and they each represent a different level of milligauss. And so EMF, electromagnetic fields are measured by science in milligauss. So you're measuring these different levels of and it's like going from like one light, which is base light, which is 0, and it's shooting right up to the top to 20 plus, and it's going down and it's going up and it's going down and it stops and then it stops again. It's various. If it's an electrical issue, it's usually consistent on whatever light until you get closer, then it will go up higher. But I was moving this thing all around and it had all different readings, and then mine would stop, and then Catherine's and Scott would stop, and then it would go back and forth. So the clip will start with me saying, "Who's this that's interacting with me? That's making my device go nuts?" And you hear 2 voices, and I'm gonna play them. I'm gonna play it a few times for you. So I think it tells you what anyway. So here you go.
Who is it that's standing right in front of me, making my device go nuts, lighting up?
For what it's worth, I think it sounds to me, it sounds like a child's voice. And that's how I presented it to the owner. The owner told me after the fact that in 1963, one of the family members had a kid, and they were living there together. And the kid was about 11 years old. The kid went down the street to the bridge to go swimming. Now, this is the bridge that connects. Familiar with Block Island? You're probably not. But Block Island, it's a little island 13 miles off the coast of Rhode Island. And it has Old Harbor, which is the original harbor, which where all the businesses are. And you pull in off the ferry, you go into New Harbor, you get to Old Harbor. New Harbor was dug out it's not really that new. It was dug out in like the 19th century. It's a man-made harbor. So there's a little inlet that connects the two, a little channel. And people have been known to jump off that bridge. It's not very high at all. It's maybe like 10 feet off the water and go swimming in there. But however, when the tide comes through, it becomes very dangerous. And people have been known to drown. So in 1963, the little boy who was 11 years old, family member, he was the grandson of Champlin, the guy the brothers who opened this establishment. He was taking a hot summer day like today here in New England. It was 99 degrees. And he went and he jumped off the bridge into the cool ocean water, and it was high tide, and it swept him out, and he drowned. Don't know if they recovered the body, but I believe she believed that was the spirit of the little boy trapped there in the Hygeia. My next case, the next one on here is case 11. Case 11 is we were granted an incredible honor by an incredible friend. I can't really mention his name because he uses his connections within the state to allow us to access legally the site that used to be called the Ladd School here in Rhode Island. It was closed down in 1993. Finally, all the clients were taken out, all the patients were taken out. Had a lot of stories of atrocities, abuse and neglect had of patients. I've heard clients and staff from there alike talk about the abuses, one of which they took some of the most profoundly disabled population unit and they would line them up outside against the wall. They pull out the fire hose and that was that bad. So, I mean, it's just absolutely atrocious. Women were raped, murdered, buried bodied in the backyards, all sorts of awful stuff, all sorts of like neglect cases, stuff that you would think you would hear from the Nazis. And it's coming from here and around. So I have I think I have 3 from the Ladd School to present. And here we go. Here's the first one. An awful air horn and an awful bark. Terrible. Here we go. There it is. That was a Fogarty Hospital right there. This building right here, this round one. A lot of abuse cases came out of there. So we're getting into the Ladd School rehab building.
And that lets us know that you're here.
One more time.
And that lets us know that you're here.
Believe it was said, "Show me the flash." It sounds like that. Catherine was taking photographs at the time. If you couldn't hear her camera snapping, a little weird. The second one from Ladd. Here it is. Give you volume. We were in that building. We were in the basement, first floor rather.
I won't be able to hear you.
Now this, I'll play it again.
I won't be able to hear you.
Clearly, it's a man saying "trash tray." We are the only 2 people in this entire building. I know this for a fact because it was heavily guarded against trespassing because a lot of the buildings were falling apart. And 4 months later, those were the last buildings of the former Ladd School to be finally torn down. But I knew for a fact it was Catherine and I along with several rats because I could hear them. But gross. But trash tray, like for years we pondered, what the hell does that mean, trash tray? And then I had a job working for the Bridgewater State Hospital, which is the forensic unit in Massachusetts for the the mentally incompetent stand trial. People who are on civil commitments. I talked about it earlier, and they're in. It says hospital in the title. It's not like a hospital. It is definitely a jail. There's locked. A lot of guys are locked in very small rooms, like half the size of like your backyard shed, with a toilet and right in there and a bed nailed to the floor. And it's all iron and cement. It's absolutely terrible. So I worked on a max unit because I love the crazy, and I worked with the most acute populations, and we would have to feed them in their rooms because all sorts of violence happened when they all ate together. And you pass them a tray through what was called the wicket. It was like a little or a sally port. It was a little slot that you open, you slide shit through. They could dispense medication and stuff through that and whatnot. But we go around after lunchtime. We pass out all lunch trays. We'd wait like 10, 15 minutes. We go around and collect all the trays. We collect all the trash from the rooms. I remember like I was going through the hallway with a barrel and like the lunch cart after lunch one day, and it was these guys are all locked in, and I remember like trash trays. And I'm like trash tray. I'm like, there it is. I'm like, buddy, you were in a hospital. You were in the Fogarty Hospital, a mental health setting from the 1960s. Well, it opened in the turn of the 1900s. I think 1909, and they finally closed it after many scandals. Holy shit. So the last one I got to pay for review from the lad. Here it is. Again, we're in this building, Fogarty Hospital, first floor. Yeah, I do have more of the lad school somewhere. We had a good 7 or 8 EVPs that were really awesome. Another great EVP. This is weird. We were doing a spirit box session in an old mill. Myself, Rich Fintel of Paranormal Legends Society, and a couple of his investigators. And this didn't come through on the spirit box. This was, I think, was a disembodied voice. None of us report hearing this in the moment. And when I played this for them after we broke for review, we came back together to review shit. I'm like, hey guys, you gotta listen to this. It blew their minds. Like, how did we not hear that? It's so loud. Some of these I'm amplifying them. This one I didn't amplify at all, and it's so loud, and nobody hit it. So let me play that for you. This is in an old mill in West Warwick, Rhode Island.
Can you repeat that name you called out?
In the flash!
That name you called out.
In the flash!
So that was EVP, Bring the Flash. As loud as that was, louder than Rick was asking them to repeat that name they just said. The name was the name of an investigator, Aaron, who was in the room with us. Said Aaron on the ghost box, and they wanted to. And instead, we got this disembodied voice that says, "Bring the Flash!" So damn loud, and nobody hears it. That's one of the things one of the many things about the paranormal that truly amaze me is things like that happen. So my next one, it's this is actually case 23, not 21, as I wrote here on 21. This is my investigator Joe. I talked about him a little bit before. He's my quote unquote tech guy, if you will. He builds a lot of the tech stuff. He was able to do more than just turn on the computer. He put together a nice video package for us, and he's also my video production manager for my show, Three Dudes Bruce. But here's so Joe goes. We go into the old East Greenwich Historical Society, which is the old Kent County Jail, which was founded in 1795. It was open from 1795 to 1957. It was a house that the people who ran the jail were about 5 generations of a family, and they raised kids there, and then the kids took over the jail, and then they got married and raised kids there, and then their kids took over the jail, and so on and so forth for about 150 years. Then different family took it over, and then the state changed all the centralized jail systems to the ACI and the whole Cranston thing that they get going on now. But anyway, it used to be the county jail system, and this building has since been sold. We did what we could. We raised a lot of money for the organization. We had a lot of paranormal, public paranormal hunts and stuff in teams, and let everybody in and experiences. But this is our first experience there. So Joe he went in and he set up all the video. We had at the time we had wired video cameras. This is how far back this is going. We had wired video cameras, and we wired the entire building with like 10 cameras, and it was all done by Joe because he was the only one who knew how to do it at the time. And he's like, when we were, he comes downstairs. He's like, I had an experience upstairs. He's like, it's a little, it was weird. It made me feel weird. And he's like, he's like, hey, my name is Joe. I'm just here to set up some cameras. I may come through here, talk to you later. Whatever. So then we all come back downstairs before we get ready to investigate. We all take 15, 20 minutes. So we do a quiet time session. We sit in a particular area of the building. And then for this one, this is the first one we ever did this. So we drew areas from a hat that we were going to go to. And of course, Joe picked the attic where he had this weird experience. So Joe goes upstairs and he sits there. And he hears something, and you'll hear it in a minute. And then he comes downstairs, and the nearest woman, because it's a woman's voice, is 2 floors down. And beyond that, the nearest one beyond that is 3 floors down in the basement. So there's no way a woman could have uttered this 2 floors down and we would have heard it like this. So, yeah, there's a whole lot more to the investigation. But I'm just going to play you this one great piece with Joe Britland. Here we go. Case 23, not 21. You'll see footage from the moment, but you don't see Joe. It's just the room. It doesn't repeat that many times. That's just me repeating it in the video so people can hear it. So you heard it a number of times. It said, hi, Joe. Joe goes up there earlier in the night. He feels this weird feeling. He's like, I introduce myself. I say, hey, my name's Joe. And then he's like, I heard a woman's voice. He went back. He reviewed it immediately. And sure enough, he heard what we just heard there. Hi, Joe. Sounds intelligent to me. This next one, you see this guy's face here. This is Frank Sheffield. So Frank suffered from a TBI, like the guy who shot up the NFL headquarters yesterday. He was a school teacher in Mystic, Connecticut, and a school bell fell on his head. And after that, he experienced a lot of what appeared to be mental health symptoms, a lot of delusions that was probably connected to his traumatic brain injury, mental health awareness now. So Frank had a wife who gave birth to a daughter, Maggie, and she died. The woman died. The wife died in childbirth. And in Frank's somewhat psychotic state, he blamed Maggie for murdering his wife and deemed that she should be killed to revenge his wife's death. So his family, who's a little bit more sane than he is the brother-in-law is a pastor in Attleboro. This guy lives in Stonington, Westerly area, Mystic area, and Stonington area. And they take the child up there into Attleboro, which is like a pretty affluent place at the time, to raise the kid. So he's constantly saying, he's making accusations for years that the daughter murdered the wife, and he's going to take vengeance on the daughter. And they don't allow him to see her. Meanwhile, he remarries. One Sunday morning, he gets up. He tells his wife, hey, I'm going to go into town. I'm going to get some breakfast. I'm going to have some pancakes. I'm going to have some bacon. I'm going to go crazy, and I'm going to go do some shopping. I'll be home later today. She's like, all right, Frank, see you later. Instead, Frank goes and jumps on the choo-choo, and he goes up to Providence and takes the connector over to Attleboro. and he goes to the house of his sister where his brother-in-law is preaching mass. At the time it was a Sunday morning, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna take Maggie, and she's like, no you're not, because you've been talking about it for the last 5 years that you're gonna kill Maggie. And Ben, she's no, that was just, that was nothing, blah blah blah. So she's like, we gotta wait till my husband comes home and we'll talk about it then. He's like, all right, whatever. And they went in another room, and he went and he took his daughter, and he booked it. And he went to Providence, went back down to Providence, where he jumped on. He could have taken the Bay Queen or another ship. The Bay Queen's like famous in Rhode Island for taking tours around Narragansett Bay. Side note, but anyway, Frank wants to have a shore dinner, which was really popular at the time in Rhode Island. We went to a place called Rocky Point Park, which was open until about 1994-ish. Great experience, great place, great amusement park. We went to the shore dining hall, and he's seen on the boat ride there with his daughter. And while in the dining hall, he's experiencing a lot of interaction with people who aren't really there talking to him, i.e., internal stimuli, auditory hallucinations, paying no attention to his young daughter, completely in his own world. After dinner, they get up. He takes her by the hand. They walk out of the shore dining hall. They go around to the bluffs behind the shore dining hall. This Rocky Point Park is right on the ocean, right in Narragansett Bay. And he smashes his daughter Maggie, his 5-year-old daughter Maggie's head in with he bludgeons her with a piece of ledgestone. He leaves her to die. She's found by bystanders who hear the screaming and respond to the site to find her this young girl's like head bashed in against a rock, and they take her to the doctor's house, who also happens to be the magistrate. They found Frank down a couple of 100 yards away at a golf course. He goes bloodied, goes to a pair of golfers, confesses what he did, says, kill me now. I can't believe it, but kill me. Overwhelmed by what he does. He gets arrested, gets held. He gets placed in the local jail, which is closest to Warwick is in Kent County. So he goes to the Kent County jail, this place that we investigate. They put him in the first cell on the right. They felt so bad for this guy because he was so despondent about what he actually did when he was not well, that they felt bad. They bought him a rocking chair, and that rocking chair still sat, during this investigation, still sat in that cell that they gave him. He stood trial right up the top of the hill at the Kent County Courthouse, which is now the East Greenwich Town Hall. And he was found not guilty by reason of insanity. And that was in 1892, and they sent him to live at the Howard Center, which is the former state hospital for Rhode Island for mental health, and where he died in 1920. Ironically enough, they buried him with his first wife and his daughter Maggie in Mystic, Connecticut. So here's the EVP. There's 2 EVPs that come through. There's 3 ladies in a cell, and it's kind of like a whispered woman's EVP, but I'm going to play it for you anyway, and I guess it's kind of intelligent. There we go. That's the jail, the old jail. Here we go, the front door. So you're reading all this. This is all shit I just said.
I forgot my
Frank Sheffield. That's the guy's name. I was trying to think of.
Here's there. Here's there. Here's there.
So what we think we heard there was Sheffield. I mean, his name Sheffield, because they talk about his rocking chair and Frank, and that was his name. That's him there. That's his. And then Coesit, or in recent years I had thought maybe more as a could we sit, but Coesit is a local village right the town over in Rhode Island. So maybe it was Coesit, maybe it was Coesit. I don't know. So I definitely heard Sheffield. I still hate Sheffield. In that same building, right outside the hall, there's a hallway that connects to the old jail from the house, and they're able to look at the prisoners through the door. So during a public investigation, I was down in the jail cell area with about 5 guests and my Uncle Jim, and we were looking. I was coming out to look at the time so we can move. We moved these groups to different areas of this location during a public investigation to the most heightened areas of paranormal activity. So as I'm coming out this hallway and I'm looking for the time, there's a voice. I have my recorder going, and there's a voice that just comes through, and it's a weird voice. I couldn't tell you what he's talking about, but it's pretty clear. No amplification. Here we go. Let's see the time we got here. We can roll along. Get down. We'll do about 2 more minutes. Roll along. Get down. We'll do about 2 more minutes. So as you can hear, I don't hear anything that's being said at the time. I'm talking to myself as I'm like walking through an area, tagging what I'm doing. I'm just gonna like check the time here. See, oh, we got about 2 minutes. Get down is the voice that seems to come through. The next one is from the historic SK Mansion in it's up in Massachusetts. Can't remember the name of the town. It's in central Massachusetts. Anyway, it's from the historic SK Pierce Victoria Mansion. I do recommend you get there if you haven't been there, but I have 3 lovely EVPs from that building. Here we go. Gardner. There is Gardner. So everybody said men can't go in Maddie's room. So I'm like, hey, let's go in Maddie's room and stop there.
There's just like a closet over here.
All right.
And then there's a bedroom over there. That's the nursery.
Oh.
It was a nursery years ago, and it was Edwin's office after that.
I heard it was like 4 notes. It sounded like a thing you whine and it plays. The music, like a music box. It's like 4 notes, and then I couldn't hear it. That's why I was, but it didn't last. So it's gonna play it here.
Nursery, 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 nursery.
So it was more like 3 notes that were captured. Bear in mind, none of us had our cell phones on us at the time. Everything was shut off. We were on an investigation with 555 Paranormal, and we had done like the basic stuff with what's her face, and what's her face, and then we went off and ventured on our own, and of course we went in this room, which was where I felt a finger on the top of my forehead, like pressed down like that. It was pretty nifty. Back in we're in Maddie's room, the same room. This is the second one. God, nah. Definitely a cool place. Definitely get there. Marion Loma. She does the tours. Check her out. You want the boys to leave? You can say so. Although we're not here to disrespect you at all. We know it's kind of not proper. So that room was Maddie's room. She was the she was like the matron, took care of the children. It was right next to the nursery, and she was allegedly had a sexual relationship with SK Pierce, who was her boss. Dale was the only one in the room. Dale was doing a pendulum session. Dale did not say boss or can you please. Neither female voice sound alike. They were the only females in the room. She was the only female in the room. I don't know. I think they're dead people. So anyway, this is the third one from SK Pierce, Victoria Mansion. Here we go. Gadna. That's how you pronounce it. Gadna. There's no Oz in New England. So yeah, the third floor, it had a billiard room. I'm just going to explain this really quick. They have a little closet up there. They call it the rape closet. It's just about the size that could fit like a small mattress. where a very wealthy, industrious man like SK Pierce may have taken advantage of his employees. So I put a chair in that room. I take my recorder and I go in the rape closet and I hit record. And my team is on the outside doing a session, and this is what I captured through the darkness.
We're almost done.
So I don't know if I'm stuck here, or I'm sticky. Sounds like I'm sticky, which is even more gross considering it was called the rape closet. But I'm not going to get into details. There's not enough time. The last case I'm going to present, there's a few here, but the last case I'm going to present is case 33. This is a old historic house on the Warwick East Greenwich border. We were taking in. It was myself, Joe, the guy. Hi, Joe. It was Joe. Patrick, the curator of the Barn Memorial Armory, and his neighbor that got us access into this old historic home in East Greenwich, Rhode Island. It was on a very large piece of property, about 35 acres. It had an old stable on one end of the property, and it had a modern mansion on the other side of the property where nobody was occupying at the moment. The owners, the wife let us in there, allowed us to go in. The husband was against the paranormal, and he didn't have to know. The couple were in like the Caribbean. So there was nobody on the entire property, just us. We pull up there. Joe, who's not a feely kind of guy, it's 9:43. I'm gonna make this quick. Joe is not a feely kind of guy. He's like, dude, it felt like we were gonna die in this place. Like it was gonna be like a horror story come to life. Like I see too many horror movies. There was a lot of activity in this house. There was disembodied voices. I see that disembodied voice. I'll play that for you in just a minute. There was objects that were moving. The door was moving. When we go back and we review it, you'll sit here. You'll hear. You won't see. You'll hear it. Disembodied, like not disembodied. You'll hear like footsteps that there's nobody else. It's just us. So I'm gonna play you these four, and we'll finish up the show. Here we go.
The door just moved.
I just heard footsteps. That door?
Yes.
I definitely heard footsteps. Buddy, you're definitely
Yeah,
right.
it just moving.
We'll play it again. Hold on a second.
You push the door open?
So we heard
in the quiet town of Hawkins.
So we heard those 4 to 5 footsteps. I had heard them. Then the door. Petra reports the door moving. I can't say it's related for sure, but I want to say that it's definitely related. We were all sitting down. We were in a 18th century kitchen, fireplace, bare floors, no electricity. Just a weird thing. The next one's in that same room. It's going to be over here. There might be some swears in it. I'm standing. The other 3 investigators are sitting. We're looking at a candle. We use a candle. Like, blow the candle out. Make the candle go out. That's what we're all focused on, this candle. And I have a folding chair in the middle of the room, and I'm sitting away from it. And, well, here we go. I'll just play it, and you can hear the scenario. All right, so this is me, this is the chair, Joe, Patrick, Andy, the fireplace, and the door. There we go.
What the fuck?
What was that?
Excuse my language.
The chair just moved.
You didn't move the chair?
You're kidding me.
I didn't touch it. I was like this. And then it moved. And
That's the second thing in this room that's moved. Well, third thing. I saw that door move. That door popped on me when I came in here.
it's not like
You
I'm
didn't catch it on the cord?
No, I didn't. Because I was standing like this.
Standing still?
Like this. So looking at the space, looking at the candle with the space in there.
It dragged.
So it sounded like a drag.
It dragged, yeah. I thought you kicked block out of here.
You didn't touch it?
No, I didn't. I'm gonna go stand away again now. Too. You want to do that again? Go ahead. Look at that. What the fuck?
So excuse my language because of course I was a little startled and I did a when this shit just moved, dragged. That the caps on the bottom. So it's a metal folding chair it was an old church metal folding chair, and they were the caps on the bottom. One of the caps popped off the bottom leg of the chair. That's how much the chair moved. So it was pushed severely. And again, before you slow it down and you listen to it again, you hear the 4 to 5 footsteps, and it's like somebody walked into the fucking chair. And it wasn't me. We were all just standing there still. I have 3 other witnesses to attest. So the next EVP, there's two left. Here we go. Coming right at you. I don't know what this one is. We're going to play it and see what it is. G33. Audio evidence. 4 male investigators are on the second floor. Nobody else is there.
That was your stomach?
Yeah.
Jesus. That had a really weird sound to it. I thought it was dogs or something. Maybe it's just my hearing.
Thunderstorm going on in my stomach. Gurgling.
Again, nobody heard that. You hear that? I'm going to play it again. You can hear us.
I'm next.
No, all right, never mind. You can hear us all talking. We're talking about how Patrick's tummy is making mumbling sounds. And there's a woman's voice that says Roger. There's not a woman within a half a mile of this building. And you somehow hear a woman's voice say, Roger. I don't know. And my last CBP presentation for this evening is this one. This is a disembodied voice. And we hear this one. There's 2 of them. So I'll play this one for you guys. Here we go.
And so it's possible we might not have heard it if it was far enough away coming out and landing. My guess.
Showed something there.
Me too.
In
I
there.
did too, yeah.
So again,
Lynch left is.
so I don't know if you guys heard that last one. I'm gonna go big screen on, buddy. So that mud, but puddles was very prominent. Puddles, like you heard every syllable that young child was saying. Ironically enough, that building, once occupied, what it's now known today as the Rocky Hill School. It's a private school in Warwick, Rhode Island, East Greenwich. It's a little bit up the road now. It's on like Potawatomi. It's in Potawatomi, which is a little like chunk of land that sticks out into the Greenwich Cove, Greenwich Bay, out there in East Greenwich, Rhode Island. But this is where the original location of the school was from like 1927 to 1938. The woman who was to own this property, she was a big proponent for education and education of children who couldn't read and write, and thought it would better their lives. So she allowed the school to open up in this building on her property, and they would stay there for maybe a decade, and then they moved out. But this building is as old as the 1700s. There were like boards in the attic that were timbers from trees that were like this wide, like massive timber, like planks. It's like you didn't see trees like this You started that long ago. So it was, but originally the Rocky Hill School, we found out later, their original mascot was called the Narragansett Mud Puddles. Narragansett Mud Puddles, and that EVP says Mud Puddles. Is it related? Yeah, I don't know. Is it a dead person? Is it a dead child that grew up that spirit so haunts the school, the building? I don't know, but it's pretty goddamn ironic. Excuse my French. You heard me swear a few times on the show on the EVP and right here in person. So thank you for tuning in to tonight's edition of The Ghost and the Goat. Tonight, thank you, tonight's guest, Buddy Dad. Buddy, you've been a great guest. Hey, Buddy, thanks a lot, dude. It's been great being on the show again. Buddy, anytime, come back on. Give us volume 2 next time. Buddy, dude, don't damn me. I will. We got some great shit from Ocean State Paranormal. I continue to investigate when I can. You know, guys, life is busy. The ghosts will always be there. Remember that. They're always around us. They're around us all the time. What's going to be around us next week? We're going to come back next Tuesday, and Dan Cleese from the Haunted Hinsdale House is going to join us. From Hinsdale, scenic Hinsdale, New York. Dan is also a beloved fan of the goddamn Buffalo Bills, which is one of my Dolphins rivals. So we'll probably talk shit to each other about sports, and talk goodness about ghosts and all that he does with his Haunted Hinsdale. Also, strength for Shaylee and his daughter's fight against cancer, and all the fundraisers and all the efforts that have been done for this girl. And this girl's amazing journey. We're going to talk about all this next week, next Tuesday on The Ghost and the Goat. Also tune in next Thursday as Three Dudes Brews, myself, Ed, and Costas return from our summer break for Three Dudes Brews, the last call, where we welcome local beer drinkers to talk beer, everything, nothing, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And of course, tune in for the much anticipated, holy fuckhead, would you put it out, episode 10 from Long Live Beerworks. 4 buddies there. 4 buddies there. This has been Buddy Thayer, The Ghost and the Goat. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for putting up with my nonstop banter. I hope everybody just, they're everywhere. It doesn't take a genius to do this. You don't have to have a production show. You don't have to have your own show on Sci-Fi. You can get a recorder. You can get a camera. You can get whatever. Go out there and do this if it interests you. It doesn't take anyone special to do this. So again, for Buddy Thayer, this has been Buddy Thayer, The Ghost and the Goat. Have a good week, everybody. Peace. Drink good beer.